had recently gotten out of a 2-year relationship and was adjusting to being single. I was living in my corner townhome and trying to fill the loneliness by swiping through dating apps. After a few months of silence, a girl named Tracy, whom I'd matched with on Tinder weeks before, reached out to me on Snapchat. She suggested coming over to help me decorate my Christmas tree, which seemed fun enough, so I invited her over that evening. When Tracy arrived, I was surprised to find she was a few inches taller than me and wore a strong, overwhelming perfume. There was something about her that felt off, like she was missing certain social cues. Despite this, we proceeded with decorating the tree, though things felt tense between us. When I went down to the crawl space for the ornaments, I started feeling strange. Dizzy, like the wine had hit me harder than usual. When I came back upstairs, Tracy was gone. I assumed she had left, but after checking my phone and feeling disoriented, I soon realized she hadn't just left. She was still in the house, so I lay there on the couch. My phone's flashlight revealed Tracy standing in front of me in the dark. She didn't say a word, just stood there, staring. I barely managed to call out her name before she sprinted downstairs, and I heard the front door slam. By the time I gathered my senses and checked my phone, Tracy had blocked me, and my house was eerily quiet. I noticed some strange things missing: prescription pills, vitamins, and even a bottle of vodka I kept in my fridge. I immediately called the police, who couldn't find any trace of her. But later, it dawned on me. Tracy had likely laced my wine with something, perhaps to rob me of any drugs or medications. Her weird behavior, the perfume masking her body odor, and the way she acted made sense now. She was older than she claimed, probably homeless and struggling with addiction. I'll never forget that chilling moment of seeing her silhouette in the dark, and to this day, I never finished decorating the tree that year. This unsettling encounter has stuck with me, and I've learned to be much more cautious when meeting people online. This happened on Christmas Eve in '97 when I was 7. Since we're Jewish, Christmas Eve was just another night for us. Our dad, a doctor, was on call at the hospital, leaving my little sister and me alone with our mom, who was passed out from drinking. We were watching TV when we heard a knock at the door. Through the glass panes, I saw a man in a Santa suit holding a bag. He smiled and waved, saying, "Hey kid, it's me, Santa. Let me in, and I'll give you presents." I told him Santa wasn't real and that Jews don't get Christmas presents. He insisted he'd changed the rules to include Jewish kids, but I argued we get presents during Hanukkah. His smile faded, and he demanded I open the door. I told my sister to call 911, but the operator didn't take us seriously, thinking we were just kids excited about Santa. The man returned, knocking again, and said he knew the cops weren't coming. My sister ran upstairs to wake our mom, but I stayed behind in a moment of desperation. I lit candles from our menorah and blew them out under the smoke detector, setting off the alarm. The fire department arrived quickly, but the man didn't leave. He told the firefighters he was our dad, dressed as Santa, and begged them to break down the door to save us. Thankfully, the firefighters stopped when we screamed that he wasn't our dad and that we were Jewish. I showed them my kippah and the menorah, explaining how I'd set off the alarm to get help. They wrestled the man to the ground and called the police. The police arrested him, and an officer stayed with us until our dad came home. To this day, I believe being Jewish saved us. If we'd opened that door, it might have been our last Christmas. In December 2022, my girlfriend Charlotte and I rented a cozy Airbnb in the Pocono Mountains. The house was beautifully decorated for Christmas, with a hot tub on the deck and snow starting to fall. After settling in, we enjoyed a nice dinner and went outside to relax in the hot tub. But then the bubbles stopped, and we heard footsteps on the property. We didn't see anyone, but it felt off. Later, the hot water in the shower turned ice cold, so I messaged the host, Mike, who said he'd send someone to check the heater. That night, we heard aggressive banging on the front door, but we stayed in the bedroom, too scared to check. We eventually fell asleep, but the whole thing was unsettling. The next morning, I noticed fresh footprints around the house in the snow. Then, a man named Tom, who had introduced himself as the Airbnb manager, showed up to check the water heater. I mentioned the strange knocks, and he shrugged it off, saying people roam around the area at night. But when I messaged Mike, he said he didn't have a brother named Tom. Realizing something wasn't right, Charlotte and I quickly packed and left. As we were driving away, I saw Tom approaching the car. We called Mike, and he said the police found no one in the house when they arrived. Mike later messaged us, saying he didn't know anyone who looked like Tom. We were lucky we left when we did. Who knows what his intentions were?